probably one of my favorite things is this Cortana here, and actually any of these Halo 3 figures up here. With the simple fact that now if you look at any Halo stuff from McFarlane Toys, it's got a 10-year anniversary on it. It's crazy that these things have been out for 10 years now, but these are the original launch Halo 3 figures, still in their boxes, never open. Batteries probably corroding in here, and one of these days the acid's going to spit out and burn my eyes out. ODST, this was a Comic-Con original. They only made 1,200 of these, and here it sits unopened. This has been up there since that figure came out, so kind of cool collectible piece to have. Now over here, now we finally get to the games in the game room. And I've got a couple different shelves here, and it all divides out into long box, cartridge stuff, import stuff, box stuff, CD stuff, and then the bookshelf has cartridge stuff. And I guess we can just kind of go from top to bottom here. This is Sega CD stuff. And I try to keep this in alphabetical, all of this stuff, with the exception of the cartridge. I can't try to keep in alphabetical order here by system. And unfortunately, the greatest Sega CD game I have in my collection, which is Snatcher, I do not have complete. I only have the CD for it, but I got a hell of a deal for it. I don't have a complete copy for it, but also Final Fight CD is another one that I don't have a box for. And that's one of my favorites on the Sega CD. But if I had to pick some other ones, here's Flashback: The Quest for Identity, which was a great game on the Super Nintendo. And Super Nintendo is probably my favorite version, but this had some great CD stuff with it. And how can you not go wrong with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? I don't think I've actually ever fired this up, but it really, really... I mean, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can already see the pixelated video, and it kind of looks shitty. I gotta fire that up sometime. How much did I pay for that? $3.95. I didn't get ripped off too bad. Here's a great LucasArts point-and-click adventure that I didn't know existed on the Sega CD, and that is Monkey Island. It's a point-and-click adventure. Great soundtrack. Actually, a lot of fun. Probably one of the best Terminator games there is. And that is the Terminator on Sega CD, soundtrack by Tommy Tallarico. We get into the Sega CD stuff here. Right away, if I probably have to say what's my favorite Saturn titles, I'd probably say Panzer Dragoon 2. For the most part, because that's what we used to play on the Saturn when we used to wait for my mom to get out of TJ Maxx. The Best Buy was right next to it, so we used to play the demo kiosk there. Probably one of my most sentimental pieces of Sega Saturn memorabilia is the ultra rare Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is an RPG in that universe. A buddy of mine, big video game collector, left for Afghanistan, and he did a tour in Iraq. He gave this to me as like a going away present, except it was completely opposite, and it was really cool of him to give it to me because this is a really expensive game, but it's a classic. You should really play it if you're a big Sega Saturn fan or you like the other Panzer Dragoon games. Pick this up because it's great. There's a lot of sentimental stuff for this because he's still out there shooting people and protecting our country, as awful as that sounds. This copy has had the crap kicked out of it, but I only paid $5 for it, and that is Street Fighter the movie, which it's not great, but it's also cheesy as hell, so that kind of makes it good in a sense, I guess.
Fits in with the movie.
Yep. On the top here, here's some miscellaneous big box stuff that I can't fit in. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker Special Edition and the HD Collection. Some more Sega Saturn stuff. Long box PS1 stuff. Darkstalkers, that's a fun one to have in the big box. Oh, and here's my favorites. Can I pull this out? XCOM on the PlayStation.
Oh boy.
Not very common, but very fun. One of the few games you can use the PlayStation mouse on, and very recommended for that game. Here's my assortment of Neo Geo AES titles. You know, I used to play this a lot, and then I got an actual Neo Geo arcade machine, so I don't play them as much. But the thing that always makes me want to keep these, and always makes me laugh, and it blows people's minds when I open this up, is just how big the cartridges are for this.
God.
I mean, if I threw this out at you, it would knock you out. It's a big cart. And the boxes are just kind of cool. And they smell funny. They just do, I don't know. Here's some more import stuff that's probably not coming out without throwing the shelf on. This never came out over in America. This is Sin and Punishment on the N64. If you like the Panzer Dragoon series, you'll love this. Great game. I think I did a video review of this. I can't remember actually, but I do have it boxed and complete, which is pretty cool. I've got some boxed Super Famicom games. One of my favorites, even though it's not the best port, is Castlevania Dracula X, though in Japan's region it was Dracula Double X, because it was supposed to be a sequel of some sort, even though it had all the exact same stages and the same storyline. Super Metroid, classic. Look how much better the artwork for Super Street Fighter 2 was compared to ours. We had the stupid brick wall. This actually has artwork from the anime, the original anime that came out for it. That's pretty cool. We have some boxed original Famicom titles. This is the game that was the inspiration for Resident Evil, and that is a survival horror RPG called Sweet Home. You play as a bunch of characters that go investigate this old mansion, and the door collapses and there's all these crazy ass creatures in there and monsters, and you got to survive. Pretty interesting game, pretty fun. I was glad I could get this one boxed and complete. Kid Dracula, Castlevania spinoff, awesome, lots of fun. Metal Storm, which actually has additional cutscenes and stuff that weren't featured in the American version.
That was SNES?
NES.
That was NES.
Yep.
What am I thinking? That was SNES.
Metal Marines?
No. I thought there was a game similar. Wasn't Metal Marines. I'll think of it eventually.
Down here, my boxed Atari stuff, 7800. This is kind of cool. This is a supercharger for the Atari. And this is Blaster Patrol. And it's almost broken. But this lets you connect the cartridge to a tape player to actually load the game, which is kind of neat. Let's see if I can get it out here.
You're doing that real quick. I want to turn this in.
But yeah, here's the tape and the adapter. You plug this in your Atari 2600, attach this to the tape drive, and transfer the signal there, and it loads up the game. Some people figured out how to hack the Atari 2600 with ROMs and stuff. Not back in the day originally, but with this stuff. It's cool. Put that back together in a bit. Some boxed TurboGrafx-CD stuff. An unopened copy of Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis, which is pretty cool. A series near and dear to my heart, as everything collapses on my shelf, is Game Center CX, otherwise known in America as Retro Game Master. Love, love, love this series. If you haven't seen it, check out my videos on it. Box Genesis stuff. Some favorites. Street Fighter 2, of course.
I can't believe you don't have Shadowrun for Genesis.
I do, not boxed, unfortunately.
Ooh.
32X stuff. Some PC stuff is over here. Master System stuff. Some import stuff, actually, from Japan. There's Brave Fencer Musashi on PlayStation. Great game. What is this? Tales of Destiny. Super Robot Wars Final. and Street Fighter Alpha 03. I love the cases in these. They're a little fatter than their normal cases, which is kind of cool. Great import game. This is Night Striker. First time I played this was in a arcade, and you actually get into the whole cockpit of the thing and play it. Very similar to like Space Harrier and stuff like that. What else do we got? We got the TURBOGRAFX-CD or the PC Engine version of Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. Unbelievable that they got that game on there. Some Neo Geo CD stuff. Some boxed N64 titles. Even though I hate it, got a box copy of Castlevania 64. Ugh. One of my favorites on the N64, and I don't have many favorites, Star Fox 64. Boxed, rumble pack, and everything. We get to some NES stuff, and I do have a variety of things. No big deal. Blaster Master.
Didn't we pick that up at
Midwest Gaming Classic last year. Yep. One of my favorites. Great soundtrack to it. Another favorite of mine, which has gained a little bit more popularity now that Scott Pilgrim vs. the World came out, and that is Clash at Demon Head. Got that box. Great game. That's a classic.